And we are. Okay, so wow, I'm totally excited. We're here on Zoom, we're on Facebook Live. We're going to be putting this on YouTube if you're watching it later. I'm JV Crum III, and I'm here with Marcus Aurelius Anderson. He is the paralyzed guy who now has 4 black belts in martial arts, which is pretty amazing. And we're going to be talking about how you as a coach or consultant can make $100,000 to $250,000 in the next 12 months. So we're going to be going over a lot of material today. We want you to write things down because the whole point of this training is to give you the information you need about what's not working and what is working so that you have the right path. And then later in this presentation, we're going to give you an opportunity to have a conversation with us about a special boot camp we're doing. But what we want to make certain, our outcome, is that when you spend your time with us today, that you're going to have the specific information you need. You're going to understand the problems, the symptoms of those problems that most coaches and consultants that are not yet at 100 or they've broken through 100 and they want to get to 250. What's going on? What are the answers most people are telling them that we don't think are the right answers? And then what are the 3 specific things that you must do to break into that $100,000 to $250,000 range as a coach or consultant? So I'm going to turn it over to Marcus Aurelius, and he's going to begin discussing with you what are the 3 top problems that most coaches and consultants are having right now. So you're going to want to write this information down and be sure to put anything in the chat. And then each time we have an opportunity, we'll answer those questions. We want to be sure that you get an opportunity to ask your questions. We just don't want to interrupt the flow if we're right in the middle of something, but we will address it. But let's start, Marcus, with what are the big problems that most coaches and consultants are having right now today?
Absolutely, JV. And again, welcome to everybody that's here, for all the participants, everybody on Zoom, everybody on Facebook Live. And again, just like JV was saying, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. And we'll go ahead and get to those near the end of the training. That way we can give you all the most quality and the most interaction with the question and answer. So JV and I have talked to a lot of coaches and consultants recently, and we've been talking to them for a long time, but we've really focused on what their pain points are recently. And what we found are there are 3 primary things that they all seem to go through. The first pain point that we see with everybody is the fact that they want to make money and they want to make a lot of money, but they're not making it in the amount of time that they want to make it. So for example, if you were able to make $250,000 in a year, that sounds pretty good. But if you're making $250,000, but it takes you 10 years to get there, that's not very good. You're only making $25,000 in the process. So they're making the money, but they're not making the amount of money that they want to make in the amount of time that they want to make it. And they need to be able to collapse time and increase their income at the same time. And that's what we want to do with this. The second thing that they're doing is the whole reason why we become coaches and consultants, the whole reason why we become entrepreneurs is because we want to have freedom. We want to have the ability to enjoy the time that we have. But many times they feel like they start the business and now they feel like they get weighed down by it. They feel like they're building the business on their back and they feel almost like they are a slave to their business. So instead of being able to have the freedom that they wanted to financially and time-wise, they end up becoming more and more to where they are not running the business is running them. And that's the whole reason that they try to become independent in the first place. So that's something that they're trying to avoid. So 1, they're not making as much money in a short amount of time as they would like to. 2, they're not able to have the kind of freedom that they wanted to, or they feel like they're being stifled by their business. The last one is, what happens is if you've been in the second position for too long and you feel stifled where you're not making very much money, what ends up happening is you start getting this feeling of lack of worth. You don't feel worthy of being able to ask for the things that you want. And so the next part of that, the other side of the coin is they don't feel like they have value that is worth getting paid what they want. So because they don't feel worthy, they're afraid to ask for more value. They're afraid to ask for a higher fee. So what happens is they may start with a higher fee, and then eventually if they have any pushback, they want to start reducing that. So instead of getting paid what they're worthy of or what they think they should be getting paid, they actually are cutting themselves at the knees trying to get more money in the long run. So those are the 3 things that we see with so many of these coaches and consultants, JV, and that's what we want to try to answer, and we want to try to remedy those problems for everyone on the call today.
So let's look at some of the symptoms. So these are the 3 top problems. what are some of the symptoms that this might be going on, say, in your business as a coach or consultant? Well, the first one is, we actually don't get a check at the end of the month. You might have noticed that. But we oftentimes are worried at the end of the month, can we pay our bills? Can you pay your mortgage? Can you pay your rent? Can you pay for your car? Are you going to pay the utilities? Are you going to have money to actually go out and enjoy a night of entertainment? So there's this constant worry month after month after month. Is this going to be a good month? Is it going to be a month where I don't get a client, or I only get like a small amount of money? And what this contributes to is having this feeling that you're just not getting ahead. That somehow or another, you thought that you're going to be totally different place than you are right now, but you're the same place you were 12 months ago, or 24 months ago, or even 36 months ago. Not much has changed. It's kind of like you're treading mill. You're getting some revenues, but it just never seems to be the breakthrough that you're looking for. And this results in another symptom of chasing the clients. So instead of having a well-defined picture of what that ideal client is, the one that you can get the best result with, the one that therefore will pay you the most money to work with you, if they're a warm body and you think they might have a wallet or a credit card somewhere, right, and they had a conversation with you, or you went to a meetup and all you did was say hello, was like, oh, well, this is going to be my next client. And you're going to call them, you're going to email them, but you're going to keep on doing this rather than accepting that's just not the right client for you. So it becomes difficult to let go of the wrong clients. So you're putting all this time and energy into doing something that isn't productive, doesn't actually put money in the bank. And instead, you should be only focused on those clients that are right for you. Now, what else happens is that if you're not getting the new clients, oftentimes you're not very good also in retaining the clients. So say you worked with somebody for 3 months or 6 months, and then having good skills so that you can upsell those clients, but you're upselling them into the next version of the adventure of working together, but you're so concerned about putting money in the bank that sometimes you can take a good client and actually scare them away. It's like they're feeling so pressured, like you're breathing down their neck, that they've got to make the next purchase with you, that they actually don't make the next purchase with you. And that brings you to I think one of the saddest things that can happen, and it happens so often. Marcus and I see this, and it really pains both of us, is that at the end of the day, you don't feel like you're making that impact that you really became a coach or consultant to make. Because the truth is, most coaches and consultants got into this profession because they care about people, because they want to make a positive difference in their life. So not only are they not putting money in the bank, but they're not feeling fulfilled either. And then, as Marcus indicated, you start feeling overwhelmed, like you've got everything on your back, and you start feeling like, well, wait a minute, it's midnight and I'm still working, and I feel like I'm, drawn and quartered, and I don't have any time for me, and I'm like in the trees, right? You just feel like you're in the trees and you don't even know what the forest looks like. And the truth is, when you're that hassled with yourself, it's hard to even recognize the opportunities that are right for you because you're so busy just trying to get ahead. And that can compromise your health. So that in the end, not only are you not putting money in the bank, you're not feeling fulfilled, you're feeling kind of drawn and quartered, but your health starts to go down because you're not even taking time to eat. You're not taking time to exercise. You're not taking time to go out in nature or take a walk or just have fun times with your friends and your families, or just do something you want to do, right? And that happens to too many coaches and consultants, and then they're still not at that 100,000, or they broke through the 100,000, but they're treading water. They're just not getting ahead. 250 looks like it's Mount Everest, when really it's just basically doubling your business. Once you get through that 100, pretty much at 125, all you have to do is double it, but it feels so ominous. And so I want to give you a training right now. This is going to be some write or down kind of information on how you can start thinking bigger. Because a lot of times, one of the reasons coaches and consultants are not getting the revenues they want, not having the life that they want, not even working with the clients that they want to work with, is they're not thinking big enough. So I'm going to give you a formula for how to achieve any big goal you want. Now, that's a big claim, but I've used this myself. I've used it with clients. I've taught this to hundreds of people. I know that this formula works and that it's very specific. So I want you to get it in order. I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to explain each piece. So the first one is get absolute clarity about what you really want. This is truth time. This time to not play any games with yourself and go, well, what do I really want? And then why is that so important to you? And only once you know what you want and why it's so important, do you even consider how you'll get there. So let's go and look at the first one first. What do you want? So this is when you're going to think big. If you could create a big wave with your life, if you could have the home, the car, the lifestyle that you want, if you could take your family on whatever vacation they wanted to go to, if you could be on whatever stages you wanted to be on, or a guest on whatever podcast, or known as that great author, or everybody's referring people to you because you get such fantastic results with clients who are super happy working with you. If you could have any of those things, what would it be? And I want you to define that this week very specifically for yourself. But when you're doing that, I don't want you to think about how you're going to accomplish it. And here's why. When we start editing what we want with how we'll get there, we look in, that's the rear view mirror, folks. I'm looking in the rear view mirror. When we look in the rear view mirror, what happens? We see the reference points of what we have and have not accomplished in the past. Well, as I put it, by definition, if you had already accomplished this new goal you want, it wouldn't be a goal. It'd be something that you had accomplished in your past. So you start editing and go, well, that's not realistic. I did a whole podcast on Don't Be Realistic. That was the title of it. Don't be realistic. And here's what I said. When we say be realistic, what we really mean is play by the rules of the game that's in our mind right now. Those are our beliefs that are setting up what's in our mind at the moment. And that's not reality. That's just the rules that we have in our mind. Reality is what you define it to be. And it's expansive. It's unlimited. It can become anything. And now let's talk about why is it important? Well, here's the unfortunate thing. Do you know there's actually 6 whys and most people only focus on one of them? They focus on why is it important for me to get to this goal in the time frame I've set up. That's just the first one. Because once you're able to get there, now you have a new floor. What was a ceiling that you were trying to get to becomes a new floor. And then the question is, in the next 12 months, what will I be able to accomplish because I accomplished this? Here's the third and fourth whys. They're about other people. And I want you to choose a specific other person. It might be your client. It might be your team members. It might be your children. It might be your spouse. It might be anybody. But I want you to be able to see them in your mind's eye. And then ask yourself, when I get to this outcome in the time frame that I've specified, what is the benefit to them that I accomplished this? And it might be that you're able to provide them with something you couldn't provide them with otherwise. And then ask, well, in the following 12 months, given that I'm now going to accomplish new things that I wouldn't have accomplished otherwise, how's that going to positively impact them? So that's whys 1 and 2 are about you, 3 and 4 about others. Now let's talk about your community, society, the world you live in, whichever frame you want, whatever size chunk, because those are different size chunks. But let's say it's this community of other people. What is that positive impact it'll have on them in the time frame of you accomplishing the original goal that you're setting? And it may be that you can contribute to them at a different level. And maybe that you'll even have time to do things with them that'll make a difference. And then once you achieve your original goal, think about the next 12 months and all the things that you're going to achieve in those 12 months and how it's going to impact the world in which you live and your contributions that you can make, the positive impact that you can make with your life. Now that you have this humongous why and you know exactly what you want, and so you know why you want it, now you ask yourself, how am I going to get there? This is my suggestion. Choose 3 different ways that you might accomplish it. And if for any reason any one of those 3 ways won't get you there completely, I got a backup plan for you. So here's your backup plan. You got 2 options. Let's say this outcome was something you were going to achieve in the next 30 days. Well, it may turn out that it's just too much to achieve in 30 days and that all the things that you have to do, you still can't figure out a way to get there. That's okay. Never give up on that big dream. Give it 90 days, let's say. So you might just change it to 90 days and then your outcome is to get there in 90 days. Or you might take it to 90 days, but say, I like the idea and I think I perform best when I'm doing something that has a short-term fuse to it. So I'm getting there in 30 days. Then just chunk a part of it down and say, I'll get this part done in 30 days. And then I'll get this part done in the next 30 days. And then I'll finally get to that big goal in 90 days. Now I've got one final piece for you. And this is taken from what I do with all my private clients. Now my private clients pay me good fees. So you'd think I would want them to have goals, but I don't allow my clients to have any goals. You could go, JV, that sounds crazy. I'm a coach or consultant. I can't believe anybody would pay me if I don't let them have some goals. They're not allowed to have goals because they're only allowed to have commitments. So I want you to play with this in your mind. I want you to think of something right now that you say is a goal that you want in 30 days. And probably some of these things come up for you. Like, I'm going to try to get there. I'm going to battle my way there. I hope that I'll be able to accomplish it. These are the things that we say when we talk about goals. And notice how you feel about that goal. Now, I want you to change that to this statement. I am committed that I will achieve this result. I'm committed. Notice how your emotions change, how your state change. Now you're not saying things to yourself like, well, I'm committed and I'll try and see if I can do it. No, you never do that. You're going, I'm committed. Now let me figure out how I'm going to get there. I'm committed to get to this result. So as a coach or consultant, if you're not in that $100,000 to $250,000 range or even more, I want you to get committed right now today to getting there in the next 12 months. And notice how that feels. And now I'm going to turn you over to Marcus, and he's going to give you a training that's very related to this and picks up where this getting that commitment in yourself gets you committed. Now I'm going to give it to Marcus.
Absolutely. And everything that you're saying seems to be resonating with everybody, JV. I'm getting a lot of feedback on the chat from people over here on Zoom. Angela's responding to that. It looks like a lot of people are that really resonates with them. And again, if you have some questions, go ahead and put those in the chat box and we will get to those later on. But just like what JV was saying, there is but one level of commitment, and that is total. Anything less than that is not committed and is just interest. So having that commitment to get where you want to go is key. So he's talking about these big ideas. And what we always try to talk about is the fact that you have to have a plan now, and we have to be able to break those things down. So once you have a committed goal and you want to break these things down into how you're going to get there, we're going to talk about efficiency, because that is everything. If you have a big goal, you have to have big efficiency to get there. So once you understand what your goals are going to be for that day, for that week, for that month, for those 6 months, for that year, you have to be able to go down and say, what are you going to do from a day-to-day basis to get there? And the 3 things that I want to talk about that I would like for you to write down is understanding we always have this default setting that we go to. So if we're really busy with everything and then we have a moment where there's a pause, this is the default that you go back to. So I want this to be your default setting to help you be more efficient and to be a high performer in the process of trying to get to the next stage in your goals. The first one is being very aware of what your goals are for that day. Always being aware of what that is. Always having that be your primary objective. Second of all, asking yourself in this moment right now, is what I'm working on right now getting me closer to those goals, or is it pushing me back the other direction? The harsh reality is very few times do we move laterally in any of these things where you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. So you have to constantly have that vigilance mentally to push yourself forward towards your goals. So whenever you meet any kind of resistance or adversity, you're able to push through those things. So the first one is being aware of what you want to get done that day. Two, being very honest with yourself and saying, is what I'm doing making me get closer to those goals right now? If what you're doing right now is not making you move forward, you don't have to judge yourself for it. That's okay. Just get right back on the horse and move forward and get right back into the groove. That way you're not sitting here beating yourself up, because a lot of people, if they say, oh, well, I fell off or I lost my motivation for a moment, that's okay. It's natural. You're a human being. That's part of the human endeavor. The idea is to get back on track and to get forward as fast as you can. The third thing is to be present in everything that you're doing. So one is know what your goals are for today or for this week. Two, ask yourself if what you're doing right now is getting you closer to those goals. And then three, being present in everything that you're doing, because being present will help you recognize if you are working towards those goals. It will also help you achieve the goals that you're working on at this moment that much faster. If we're not really engaged mentally, it makes it hard for us to get to those next levels. So those are the three things I want to talk about. And that leads us into, there's a phenomenon that's called Parkinson's law, and I know that we've all experienced it, but you may not know what the law is called or that it was named as such. And I experienced it the first time I was in high school when I was told that I had to do a paper by Friday. I was given the assignment on Monday. And what I did was I did what everybody else did, was I waited until Thursday night around 10 o'clock, and then I said, man, now I have to get this done. So I was under a deadline and I had to push forward and I had to get it done. Now it only took me about 4 hours to get that paper done. So I could have done an hour Monday, an hour Tuesday, an hour Wednesday, an hour Thursday, or I could have done all of it Monday night, but I didn't do that because I didn't have something that really pushed me. I didn't have a deadline to make me move forward. So Parkinson's law says that the more time we allot something, the longer it will take for us to get done with that. So again, that deadline is your commitment, which JV was mentioning before. And that's why it's so important to have a commitment and to have a timeline to do that. We don't need more time. We need a deadline to get these things done. And that leads right into what I'm going to talk about now, which is understanding that most people don't move forward on things, and most people hesitate because it is human nature. And they hesitate because they feel like they don't know if they can do it, or they feel that what they're about to face is going to be something difficult. And so the natural inclination is to try to avoid it and to go around it and to keep ourselves occupied with other things. That's why it took me so long to get that paper done. But understanding now that what you're trying to do in the future, your tomorrow is dictated by what you do today, not by what you want to do today or what you hope to get done today, by what you actually do in this moment. The rest of your year is going to be dictated by what you do today, tomorrow, this week. That's going to make up your quarter. That's going to make up your year. And that's how everything comes together. The people who reach the financial success, the people that reach the freedom in their time, is because what they do expands and extrapolates over time. So if they are constantly moving forward, if they're constantly being cognizant, if they're constantly being committed and moving towards their goal, that's what will expand and continually grow in their business. But if they procrastinate, if they put it off, if they think that they'll do it tomorrow, that is what's going to expand and get much bigger in their business. So that means that over the months, they are going to be procrastinating and not moving forward as quickly as they should. And the idea is to continue to move forward. They also are always looking for ways to compress their time and to help them get to their goal faster. They understand that by putting that time in and by making those commitments and investing in themselves, that's going to help them get closer to their goal that much faster. So to bring it down to the bottom line, and JV was touching on this earlier, it comes down to this. Imagine the money that you're making right now in this moment. Imagine how much you made this year. Now imagine if you could take that money and you can double it. Imagine what you could pay off. Imagine what vehicle you could buy. Imagine what home you could buy. Imagine what you could put in retirement, what you could put into a child's college fund, any of these things. If you could take that money and expand it into the next 12 months and double it, and then maybe the next 12 months, double that amount and continue to expand. That's what we're talking about. And that's what is so important. And that's probably why you became a coach or a consultant in the first place. And that's what JV and I are really fantastic at. And that's what JV is going to tell us more about.
So first of all, I want you to know we're going to be telling you more about our High Performer Bootcamp. It's specifically for coaches and consultants who want to get to 100 to 250,000 in 12 months. But there's no magic button because this is by application, because we want to be sure that every person who signs up for it, it's going to meet your wants, it's going to meet your needs, it's going to meet your desires, and that you're the kind of team player, because we're going to put you with another partner. It's critical that you're the kind of team player who's really going to support other people, coach them, and you're going to take this journey together. So if you want to learn more about that, then let's have a discovery call. And here's how you can sign up for it. There's a limited number of spaces. There's just a few that I have in the next couple of days. Here they are, consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. Again, and if you could put that in Zoom, Marcus, consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. That's how you can sign up for a call with me, and then we can discuss the whole boot camp. We're going to be telling you more about it, but we can discuss how you can benefit and how it may be the right track for you in order to meeting your needs and what you're wanting. So right now I want to look at, I've gone out and we've analyzed what are all the offers that coaches and consultants are being given. And what are they being told? Well, these are the answers to how to get to that 100,000, in particular in that 100 to 250. And we don't think any of them are actually the right answer. So let's demyth them. The first one is that the only thing you need is just to get more leads. And there are a lot of people who are selling, you need more leads, and that's the magic answer. Here's why I don't think it works. If getting more leads were the answer, and there's so many people selling that, why is it that over 90% of coaches and consultants never reach 100,000? So in other words, if the answer worked, if that were the answer for building that $100,000 business, why is it so many people don't have a magical $100,000 business? And my answer is it's not what you need, not right now. Now you're going, but JV, I got to have clients. Yes, but there are things that you've got to have before you're ready to really pour on the magic. And I think that you already know that, or we wouldn't be talking right now. Another one is that people go, well, I just need to create an info product. And if I create the info product, that's going to solve all my problems. And now I'm in the info product business. Maybe you're still coaching, maybe you're not. But here's the problem. Most of those info products, now, the stats I've seen consistently are only about 2% of the people actually go through the whole info product and actually do all the exercises, the coaching that's in them. But you're in business to transform people's lives. That's why you're a coach or consultant. And for someone to buy the second time from you, they needed to get value the first time. And if all they get is an info product, there's no live component, there's no coaching, there's no question and answers, there's no accountability, the chances of them getting any real value is actually pretty low. And then there's the mastermind that everybody's talking about. So the answer is go get in a mastermind, and that's going to solve how you make 100 to 250,000. I've been in a lot of masterminds. I run masterminds, but when I do them, they're very different than what I've been in because they're very strategically focused on outcomes. Here's what happens in most masterminds. And it's great. You get together with a group of people, you come up with fantastic ideas, and nobody does anything. They all take a bunch of notes. And then the next time you meet, nobody's actually taken and put any of this into action. And now you come up with a whole bunch of new good ideas. And they're good ideas, but good ideas are not a business. You've got to execute. You've got to have a strategic plan. You've got to be putting the same kinds of good ideas together week after week, month after month. Now, another thing that people do is they go, I'm going to get together a group, and they invite some friends that are pretty much at the same level they are as a coach or consultant, and I'm going to get a group of peers together, and we'll watch webinars, and we'll read different books, and we'll read articles, and we'll watch videos, and we'll constantly talk about all the answers that the gurus are telling us are the right answers. Here's the problem with that. And you may have done this, and so you might have experienced this, is that It's one thing for a group of people who are at the same level, which means they're thinking about their business in similar ways, not bigger ways, similar ways. And they don't have anybody guiding them how to change that thinking and which of all those different ideas they're coming up with that they're researching. Well, which ones are the ones they should laser focus on? And instead, they end up going in 5, 10 different directions. And maybe that sounds familiar because when I talk with a lot of coaches and consultants under 100,000, I find one of the biggest things they're doing is going in multiple directions rather than one direction. So instead of being an inch wide and a mile deep, they're a mile wide and an inch deep on all of them. So none of these things really work to get you to that 100 to 250, and that's why they don't work. What we want to talk about are what are the things that do work, and that's what we've put in the High Performer Bootcamp. I want to remind you again, if you want to set up for one of those 20-minute calls, it's consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. Again, it's consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. Now, I'm going to turn you over to Marcus, and Marcus is going to talk about the boot camp and the 3 specific things that you need to be doing. Whether you take our boot camp or whether you do this on your own, these same 3 things, you must master this if you're going to quickly and take a strategic path. So you're really going to move forward in a way that's going to get you to your outcome of 100 to 250,000 in the next 12 months. These are the specific things that we believe are going to make the big difference, and you need to forget everything else and get laser focused. Marcus?
Absolutely. And again, if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat box, and we will go ahead and get to those near the end of the training. That way we can give you all the most value. And we understand also that you want to have that interaction, so we want to provide that quality and value for you. Absolutely. So with the bootcamp, what we have set up is we have different sessions. We have 6 bootcamp sessions that are going to be 2-hour sessions, but we also have a pre-bootcamp that we do, and that's a 2-hour session as well. And each one of these sessions is going to be run by JV and myself. And what we do is we go through and we give you the content, we give you the teaching and the material, but we also give you the Q&A, and we also give you the laser focus coaching that is going to be specific to you and what you're going through right now in your business model. What we're doing is we're going through a step-by-step method of proven steps that get you to a point where you have a business model that's going to be functioning, that's going to allow you to get the leads that you have and convert them. And that's what's going to make what we do different than everybody else that just gives you sort of this cookie cutter idea and doesn't give you anything specific to what you're dealing with at your time. Each week you're going to receive assignments, so it's not just something that is a passive learning. Again, we want you to be interactive. We want to get you involved in it, because if it's just passive learning and we're just spoon feeding things to you, you're not going to be able to act on it. That's why it's called a boot camp. It's about really shifting you forward to where you're acting, to where you're taking action, and you're not just letting things go by without making any sort of effort on your part. We're also going to do, just like JV was saying, we're going to give you a boot camp buddy. We're going to give you somebody else that helps you stay accountable. That way they're going to be in your ear in the morning, or they're going to be in your ear or on a text asking you, hey, are you working on this? Hey, how did this go? Let's work on this together. These are the things that keep you interactive, that keeps you constantly on task, just like I said before, with the trainings and with the ideas of what we're going through. The Conscious Millionaire goal setting training is something that JV has used specifically to make all of his endeavors so successful. Those of you that already know about how amazing JV is as a multi-entrepreneur, $25 million earned over his lifetime, he is tremendous. And that's why he's been so efficient, because he's able to create those kind of goal settings and then sticks to them. And that's what helps him move forward. The productivity training, again, we've sort of touched on that before, but again, JV has 5 different amazing podcasts. There's no way he could do what he's doing unless he is very, very meticulous, very, very planned out, and knows exactly what needs to be done next, as opposed to kind of wandering around and chasing the next shiny thing, or not knowing what to do with the time that he has. We also have a private Facebook group that'll be set up specifically for people that are in this boot camp, and that way we can bring things forward to your attention. We can see kind of what's going on and say, hey, how is the week going? What are some of your victories this week? What are some of the things you're having difficulties with this week? And that way we can not only take care of it during the boot camp, but we can also take care of it in that outside Facebook group as well. We're also going to make sure that we give you a new or revised high profit business plan over the next 12 months. Many people may be fantastic at what they do, but if they don't have a business plan that will allow them to take the leads that they have and convert them efficiently, and then be able to use those methods to get to the next level, it doesn't really matter how good you are at your job until you can get to that business plan, understand how to set one of those up. We're also going to send you a digital copy of JV Crumb's best-selling Conscious Millionaire Grow Your Business by Making a Difference book. And you also get a digital copy of my book, The Gift of Adversity, Overcoming Paralysis and Pain to Find Purpose. All of these things are going to be integral to making you get to the next level as a coach, as a consultant, as a business owner, and as an entrepreneur. And that's why all of these things come together. JV and I have developed this because we see what other people are producing, we see what other people are creating, and we see that there's a lot of holes, there's a lot of gaps, there's a lot of chances for people to fall between the cracks. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to give you something that is so solid that you absolutely have everything at your disposal to be able to get to that next level. And that's why we're working so hard on this. Right, JV?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just want to review, here are the 3 specific outcomes that you're going to get in the High Performer Bootcamp. We're going to work with you. You're going to have an audio to listen to that's going to take you through a process, 15-minute, 20-minute audio. It's going to take you through a process. And the first thing is to become a high performer. That's why it's the High Performer Bootcamp. And that involves how you think, it involves your emotional states, and it involves the actions you're taking on a daily basis. So we're going to teach you how to set up your day so that it's a high performer day. It's hyper focused on the results and only those actions that are going to help you achieve the results that move you forward in your business. Second, we're going to help you go through and completely revise your business model so that it is a high impact money making business model. So this is a customized business model specifically for you, taking your strengths, taking that big why that you have, taking the people that you choose you want to work with, and melding the right offer, the right coaching packages so that you can build to that 100,000 and then to that 250. And third, we're going to work with you on your close. Because this is one of the reasons those leads are not important until you have a money-making, laser-focused business model with a great offer and great packages to sell, and you know how to close. And that comes from constantly building that high-performance mindset. So you get a high-performance mindset and way of approaching your day so that you're hyper-focused on the things that will matter, the results that will move your business forward. You get a re-engineered money-making business model that's unique to you, and we're going to work with you on your closes. That's the 3 things that you're going to get from being in the High Performer Boot Camp, and that's how we're going to help you move your business forward, because it's like trying to build a house and you go, well, I'd like a bathroom on the 2nd floor. So you put up some lumber and you have some 16-inch studs and you put in the bathroom. And then you said, oh, well, I'm going to wallpaper it and make it look all nice. Think of that as like your shiny objects, right? But here's the problem. You don't have a foundation. You don't have a roof. You don't have wall boarding up. So every time you go in there and you're kind of walking on those 16-inch studs, you notice that the wallpaper's falling apart because it's all wet from the rain, and you put your hands through it. And all of a sudden, you notice that the bathroom's at a slant. It's no longer straight and up and down. This sounds silly, doesn't it? But it's the truth. That's how a lot of coaches and consultants are building their business. It's not built on a foundation. You've got to have the foundation piece. The foundation piece is becoming a high performer, having a money-making specific business model that takes your gifts, your strengths, the why you want to be in business, and translates it into a money-making model, and having the skills to close the right leads that you can then attract because you have the offer that is exactly what they want. So I want to give you again the link so you can set up a time if you want to talk to us about the High Performer Bootcamp. It's consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. Now, you might be saying, well, this is great information, but I don't know enough about either one of you. Why is it I should be listening to you? So let me introduce Marcus to you. First of all, Marcus is the best-selling author of a book, The Gift of Adversity. And The Gift of Adversity came out of his experience of being paralyzed in the Army, going to the hospital, and being told by doctors that from his neck down, he would be paralyzed for the rest of his life, that he would never walk. And today, he has black belts in 4 different martial arts. He's not just walking, he's a martial artist. And he is a mindset expert. So he does mindset coaching with executives, with athletes, with business owners, with coaches, with consultants. He's working on how do you change your mindset so that what you're being told and what you might believe today is impossible absolutely is possible, and what are the steps that you need to take to get there. So I want to give it to Marcus for a moment because I think your story is so amazing. When I first heard it and I watched your TEDx talk, I went, oh my gosh, I had you on my podcast and I said, let's do some stuff together because what you're doing is monumental. It's like you climbed Mount Everest and now you're helping other people learn how to climb Mount Everest as well. So tell us about the story of what happened.
Thank you, JV. In 2012, while preparing to deploy with the U.S. Army, I suffered a severe spinal injury. A disc in my neck ruptured and it paralyzed me from the neck down. While they were able to save my life during the operation, I died twice on the operating table. And while they were able to save my life, they told me, you're going to be able to live, but you're not going to be able to walk you're not going to be able to walk or be able to use your hands or your feet again. I was 40 years old in a bed wondering what I was going to do with my life now because I had spent all this time and I committed myself to doing these things. And now it felt like the universe was slapping me in the face because it's almost like I wasted that time. Like I spent all this time doing other things other than moving forward with what I was supposed to be doing. I was very angry. I was in a very dark place because I had all this perspective. And when you're in a bed and you can't move, you have a lot of time to think about your life. And I realized that I always expected to be able to do whatever I wanted to do. I always expected to have talent at things. I always expected that I could put it off until tomorrow because I would always have tomorrow. That's why I have such urgency in what I'm doing today whenever I coach people, whenever I wrote my book, whenever I speak, whenever I inspire. The idea is to get people to act as quickly as they can now because tomorrow is promised to no one. None of us have any guarantee that we're going to live beyond this next breath. So if it is what you're wanting to do, if you are wanting to change other people's lives, you have to lead by example by changing your own life, and you have to move and live with that sort of urgency. And that's why as soon as I was able to start getting any of the feeling back on my hands and my feet, I wanted to attack everything that I did in my life with redoubled efforts and such ferocity to help as many people as I possibly could with my story, with my experience. And if I could give somebody even 1/10 of the knowledge that I gleaned from my experience without them having to go through what I went through, then my job is done. I found out that by teaching and by coaching leaders, by coaching CEOs and executives, those people were able to create even more impact in their organizations. So I impact people with my books and with my speaking, but also from a coaching capacity by getting them close to me and being able to get them to that next level. And hearing JV say those amazing things about me is very humbling, and I'm very honored by that. As everybody on this line knows, JV is a serial entrepreneur. He's more than a coach. He's a coach that other coaches go to when they need to work on their business. He's a leader that other leaders go to whenever they are trying to find their vision, whenever they are trying to get more focused. JV made his first million at 25 years old. He's made 25 million throughout his entire lifetime. As we were talking about before, he's a best-selling author of his book, The Conscious Millionaire. I'm a best-selling author, but he was a best-selling author in 34 different categories simultaneously. So that shows you what a tremendous impact his teachings and his mentality of being a conscious millionaire has had in everybody in this arena that we're all within right now. Inc. magazine called his Conscious Millionaire podcast one of the top 13 business podcasts of 2017. He has over 12 million listeners. And again, he is leading by example with this podcast. He wouldn't have that many listeners or that many downloads unless people really wanted to know what he had to say. And he gets to the meat of the problem, and he gets to really the crux of what these people have to offer. So when you listen to him, you're able to get the most important stuff, and it's really condensed. Again, he's a coach. He has a doctorate, master's degrees in different areas. He has a degree in law, a degree in business, a degree in psychology. He's also a licensed attorney. So as you can imagine, that comes in very handy whenever he's doing anything to do with business like that. He started studying at Cambridge University at the age of 16. So when I was trying to learn how to drive a car, he was at Cambridge University starting to learn already, and he was also inducted into Mensa. And because he always has this idea of wanting to add to his own edification, to want to learn, he understands that he has to do that by doing other things other than just education in the college capacity. So that's why he's done so much with NLP. He has multiple certifications in NLP. He has a master certification in NLP when it comes to modeling. And he also has studied Ericksonian hypnosis. So he understands so much of how NLP comes together with when it comes to programming himself, his clients, and align them to get that to that next level. He's also growing and learning because he was in the Buddhist monastery and the Esalen Institute, which is, for those of you that don't know, that's where Human Potential Movement began. So he has always been at the root of all this, and that's why he's able to do as much as he's done in his lifetime. And that's why he has such a passion to bring that to other people who had the same vision that he does. So I wish I would have met him when I first started this journey, because I can only imagine where I would be right now if I had the kind of information that we're going to be giving during the boot camp.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I want to let you know that we want to be certain that you get your questions answered today. So if you want to put anything in the chat box, you're in Zoom, we want to be sure that you get those questions answered. So go ahead and put those in. Marcus is going to look at them. And I'll just tell you a little bit more if you want to sign up for one of the sessions at the boot camp. So the High Performer Boot Camp, it's by application, and that's for a strategic reason. We want to both be sure that it's going to meet your needs. It's going to meet what you want. It's going to meet what you desire, and that you're going to be there to support other people, and you're going to be a good team player. So here's all we ask is that if you sign up for one of the sessions, that's at consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. So if you sign up for one of those sessions, that you show up because you're taking a session from someone who does want to build their coaching and consulting. We're going to treat you seriously. We're going to say you signed up because you really want to. And we want you to show up already prepared to play full out, so that when we have a conversation, you're really going to be able to discuss what it is that you want, why it's important to you to grow your coaching and consulting business, why you want to go to another level, why you want to help people so much, because that's critical. We want to know that about you, because these are the important things. This is your life. You know, when you're a coach or consultant, it's not really like you have a profession or a business and then you have something that's totally separate from them. You may have times that it's called personal time, but the truth is you're personally invested in what you're doing. You're doing this because you want to make a positive difference. You want to make a positive impact. You've got a bigger why for why you chose to be a coach or consultant. And I think it's a noble calling. And I think that it's a lofty calling, because we're the people on the planet. This is a profession. This is a career. This is a business that is designed to make a positive difference in other people's lives and organizations, to make a better planet for all of us. And that's why I'm so enthusiastic. Not only do I love coaching and do podcasts specifically for coaches and consultants, but I love helping coaches and consultants. And so does Marcus take their lives, take their business to completely new levels so that they can stop floundering and start flourishing, start thriving, start making that difference. So Marcus, do we have any questions? I just want to be sure everything gets addressed.
Absolutely. First of all, Rob is on the line, and he is very complimentary about the boot camp. Hello, Rob. He was saying,
Rob, yes.
That he
The guy, Rob's in our boot camp, and he and his accountability buddy this last weekend spent 6, count them. You know, I think you're going for the record. I think you said it. You're going to get the A+, 6 hours together on their accountability call. So that's amazing. You know, we're really looking forward. Wednesday, we'll be having that boot camp's next meeting, and we're really looking forward to hearing about all the things that you all covered, because you're absolutely going to be a star. You're going to do so well. I'm so excited you're with us.
Yeah, we have very high expectations for you, Rob, and we see that the sky's the limit for everything that you're doing. Angela Williams has a question, and she says, is this boot camp ideal for someone like me who is just starting out, who doesn't have any clients, and she'll be complete her certification in June?
Yeah. Okay. So this is probably a little early for you if you don't have any clients, but go ahead and sign up for one of the discovery calls and let's find out about your specific situation. And then Marcus and I can talk about it. We just always want to make sure that everybody's a good fit. So let's talk and then we can go from there.
Absolutely. And Rob says that he's learned a lot already just from this about the idea of understanding that it's not just about having an info product, it's about being able to teach that person, and that way you can actually scale and you can give them more of what they need as opposed to just like giving them some information and kind of walking away. That interaction is what's key, and that's what really helps that person into that.
Well, yeah, and the thing I love, Rob, is that you've already said you want to build $1 million business out of this, and you've built $1 million businesses. I have no doubt that you will.
Yeah, absolutely. He's right on track for all those things. If there's any more questions on the Zoom side, please by all means drop them in because we only have a few more minutes. Thank you, Rob, and thank you, Angela. We really appreciate that. And again, set up your call at consciousmillionaire.com/discovery. We would love to be able to talk to you and see what we can do to help you take you to that next level.
Yep, absolutely. So I want to thank everybody, and I'm JV Crum III, and I want to thank Marcus who joined me here because we're so excited to take coaches and consultants and help you build $100,000 to $250,000 businesses. And you know, one of the reasons that's so important is that if you build your business right, we estimate that on average, coaches and consultants in that 100 to 250 range should have a good 70% profit. So imagine you had a $250,000 business. It's primarily supporting you because you don't need a huge staff at that point if you're a coach or consultant. And you've got, say, $175,000 take home. You know, that's more than over 10% of the households in this country make. And you can have an incredible life on that kind of an income. And that's the great potential as a coach or consultant. And it's independent. Last year, I took my podcast, I took my coaching on the road. I traveled for 6 months, and all that I had to have was good internet connectivity. So that was the one thing. I was leasing all these different condos, sometimes right on the beach. And I would always say when I was leasing it, look, if I'm going to be there a month, the most important thing to me actually isn't even the view. I got to have fast internet. And as long as I have that, but you know what? I was traveling in the United States. It's pretty easy to find here, and it's easy to find in a lot of parts of the world. So all of a sudden, you're location independent, and you can do that for 6 months out of the year. You can do it for a month out of the year, but you can go different places, run your business. And as I said, if I have a microphone, a little mixer that's about 6 inches long, and 2 Mac computers, and they all go in a rolling computer bag, I'm good to go. I am good to go. So we want to thank you for taking your time, for being with us, and thank you for asking your questions. And again, we look forward to talking to you at consciousmillionaire.com/discovery.